My husband kissed my shoulder, then quietly stepped aside. He'd had his moment. Now he was letting me experience what would unfold next. The room stayed quiet, but I felt the shift near me. They were ready. He leaned in once more, his voice low and steady. Enjoy. Before we start, please take a second to like this video and hit subscribe. It's fast, easy, and your simple support goes a long way in helping this channel grow. It truly makes a difference. Thank you for being here. Now, let's begin. He held nothing back. His body pressed close, deep into the rhythm, breath catching with every movement. These sheets were twisted beneath us, damp and clinging. My legs tightened around him. I didn't want to let him go. He kissed him slow and tense, like he was pouring himself into that moment. His hand stayed firm at my waist, gripping like it might vanish if he didn't hold tight now. It was building. His focus, his effort, the way he gave everything he had. And when it ended, he collapsed beside me, chest rising fast, skin flushed and damp. I stared at the ceiling, still catching my breath. But deep down, something was still turning, still burning. I turned to him, body aching in all the right ways. Again, I whispered, his eyes opened slowly. Hesmold soft and tired. Give me a second, he tried. He really did. He kissed Miss Holder, dragged his fingertips down my spine, rolled over, climbing back into the space between us. Slower this time, his lips pressing into my neck. I welcomed him again, matched his movements, stayed with him, urging hymen with my body. But I could feel it, the hesitation in his rhythm. The way his breath started to falter, his strength slipping, muscles fighting to keep pace. Still, I held him close, kissed his cheek, his jaw, his mouth. It's okay, I whispered. He looked at me with both apology and effort in high sighs. But I wasn't disappointed because I loved him and he was trying. He was still with me, still warm, still close, but within me, something else remained. Not doubt, not emptiness, just hunger. Not because it did something wrong, but because I was never done. He brought it up the next morning. I was in the kitchen nursing my second cup of coffee, still wrapped in his shirt from the night before. He walked in, hair a mess, eyes half awake, but there was something focused in his expression, something unfinished. Helen on the counter, watching me a little too long before speaking. You ever feel like I'm not enough? The question landed softer than I expected, not defensive, not insecure, just open curious. I met his eyes. Number it. I nodded slowly. But you're still hungry after. I can feel it. See it? I didn't answer right away. Just held the rim-off mug warm between my hands. It's not about you, I said eventually. You give him everything. I feel that. I love that. He stepped closer, but it's still not enough. I looked at him. Really looked. There wasn't shame in his voice, just truth. And maybe something else, something deeper he hadn't said out loud yet. I took a breath. I don't want more Beccas you're lacking. I want more Beccas, I just do. He nodded again, thoughtful. And if there was a way to give you that without losing what we have, would you take it? I didn't move, didn't answer, but I didn't look away. That was enough. He reached across the counter and took my hand, his fingers scrolled gently around mine. And even though he didn't say it, I felt it. He was already thinking Abatho. 2 days later, he came home from work with 5 men I'd never met before. No warning, no explanation. They walked in behind him like they belonged there, smiling politely, nodding as they slipped off their shoes, coats already half unbuttoned. I stood in the kitchen, still holding a half-chopped onion. Dinner's not ready yet, I said. That's okay, he replied, setting his keys down. They're not here for dinner. The 5 men sat around the table casually, like they've done it 100 times before. They didn't talk much, just small comments. Work, traffic, something on the news, but I felt it, the way their eyes kept finding me. No, in a rude way, not even bold, just watchful. He opened a bottle of wine, poured a glass, brought it to me. "You okay?" he asked. I nodded, but it came out late. He touched my waist gently, held Mother for a second, then leaned in and whispered, "They're here for you." I barely had time to react. The words were still hanging in the air. "They're here for you." When my husband stepped in and kissed me. Not a soft kiss, not hesitant. It was full, anchored, like he needed me to feel him before anything else could. The 5 men didn't speak. They sat across the room, spread out along the far wall past the open kitchen. The low light caught their faces, curious, focused, unreadable. Their eyes never left me. My husband's hands moved slowly. One slipped beneath the edge of my shirt. The other settled at my waist. He lifted the fabric over my head with practiced ease. Then, with quiet certainty, he reached behind me and released the clasp with a subtle flick. His lips brushed along my collarbone, his breath warm and steady. I didn't resist. He guided me backward over the counter. Every movement was deliberate, unrushed, grounded, like he wanted this moment to be seen without a word spoken. Then, in one slow motion, he eased my layers away, piece by piece, until the softness of fabric was no longer between us. Cool marble met my skin, sending a ripple through me. I stood back slightly, just enough to take in the moment, then leaned in again. His hands slid along my thighs. His mouth followed the same path, unhurried, steady. When his lips pressed into me with intent, I exhaled, not sharply, but in a slow, staggered breath that had been waiting. He stayed focused, grounded. The pace of his touch was calm, thoughtful. He wasn't rushing, he wasn't putting on a show. There was something honest in the way he moved, like he was trying to speak through his presence alone. I braced myself, hands finding the edge behind me. My breath caught as a slow warmth gathered layer by layer. Each moment pulled me deeper into stillness. I wasn't being held. I was being witnessed. Across the room, no one moved, but I could feel their eyes. Their presence hung in the air, impossible to ignore. My husband remained close, fully immersed, never breaking rhythm. His steady movements built something quiet but undeniable. And then, without even thinking, my body rose slightly toward him, like gravity had shifted. When he finally pulled back, he rose slowly, his lips brushing my stomach, then my chest, then they allowed just beneath my jaw. He helped Mettern, gently guiding me to rest against countertop. My body followed his lead. My arms settled, my back shifted into an arch, my breath steady but shallow. That's when I saw them. The 5 men, no longer still. They adjusted in their seats, jackets unfastened, postures shifting. There was no rush, no need for words. The energy in the room had shifted, focused, intentional, quiet in its weight. My husband moved behind me. His hands returned to my hips, grounding me. He leaned in, his pace deliberate. I felt the strength in his hold. The way he moved in close, steady and sure. His breath warmed my neck, and the tension between us came to life. I moved with him, matched his rhythm, let pressure build slowly between us. I felt his focus, his presence, like he wanted to leave no part of this unspoken. I was his, and he wanted them to see that, even now, and I let them. Soft sound escaped him. Low, weighted, then he slowed. His forehead rested against my shoulder, his breathing still deep. His hands slipped from my waist with care, trailing down my sides. I stayed close a moment longer, then stepped back. I stayed where I was, still grounded, buzzing beneath the surface. Across from me, the 5 men stood one by one. No chaos, no urgency, just motion with purpose. Jackets eased off shoulders, sleeves rolled back, hands adjusted buttons. My husband leaned in once more. His lips brushed the shell of my ear. His voice barely audible. "Enjoy. The first one stepped forward without a word. His hand settled at my waist and I didn't resist. He moved in close, confident, steady. My body reacted before my mind caught up. I drew in a breath, rising to meet him, overwhelmed by the closeness and the intensity of his pace. He moved with control, measured, deliberate, my hands pressed to the counter, arms trembling as I tried to stay grounded. Every shift in motion sent a ripple through me, tightening something deep inside, and then it overtook me. Sudden breathless me body tense, then softened as a sound escaped me without warning. I didn't call up, I opened, and just like that, Hess stepped back, his presence lingering as the sensation passed before I could fully recover. Another approached, taller, broader. He adjusted me gently, hands firm but careful, then leaned in. I gripped the edge. Again, my knees faltering under the pressure. His pace was different. Slower, deeper, more deliberate. Every motion carried weight, drawing tension through in waves. My breath hitched. I was completely still, held in place by his steady presence. The second wave came sharper. My thighs shook. My hands tightened. I reached for something I couldn't name. And then I let go, breathless and undone. But it didn't end there. The third moved in next. One hand reached up, curling gently into my hair, tilting me just enough so he could meet me eyes. He didn't wait. His movements were firm, assured. My breath caught in short bursts. My body jolted with each rise of pressure, but I didn't pull away. I leaned into it fully, not because I had to, but because I needed to. It overtook me again, louder, more intense. A sound tore from my chest as pressure unraveled everything. Hess steadied me as I shook in his hold, keeping me grounded while the moment passed. They weren't done. The fourth stepped in, and this time another stood in front of me. He lifted my chin with care, kissed me deep, slow, and then lowered himself into position. I welcomed him fully. He moved with purpose. Nothing rushed, nothing forced out as the one behind me found his pace. The one before me followed, their movements aligned in perfect sync. One anchoring with calm control, the other responding to the rhythm I gave him. That pressure mounted fast, unbearable in its intensity, and when it crested, I let go. The sound low and muffled, caught between them. As they stepped back, the fifth moved into place. My body was already trembling, overwhelmed, unsteady. But I reached for him, matched his rhythm, let the moment stretch again. Then without warning, I felt another presence behind him, notes replacing, supporting, enhancing. One of them steadied my hips. Another guided my legs apart. A third stayed near, his slouch light grounding me. They worked together, not as a blur, but as a single current moving through me. I wasn't lost. I was held, surrounded by something steady and certain. My breath faltered. My hands slipped. My voice broke as the rhythm between them found its peak. There was no urgency. They moved with absolute control, and I gave myself to it without resistance. One of them reached just where I needed, setting off a reaction I couldn't contain. It didn't rise gradually. It struck all at once. The final release hit like lightning. My back arched, mouth parted, but no sound followed. The force of it rippled through every inch of me. My limbs gave out. My body melted into the warmth that held me. I wasn't falling. I was being carried. Eventually, everything stilled. The tension lifted. Their hands eased away, gentle and careful. The space around us shifted back to quiet. I stayed there, folded forward, breath uneven, skin flushed, muscles soft, everything in steam humming open, full, and finally. Then I looked up. My husband was still there across the room, unmoving, watching. His eyes were locked to mine. His jaw was tight, his hands clenched, but it wasn't anger. It was on me. I wasn't reaching anymore. I was complete. Not every man is willing to let someone take his place, but some do, and it changes their relationship for her. So tell me, if it meant giving her what she needed, would you let it happen? I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts in the comments. Before you leave, please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to support the channel and make sure you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching. See you soon.